This is kind of a strange position to be in because I didn't do much hacking at the hackathon. So I'm really presenting everyone else's work. So I want to make it very clear that none of this is my work. All the credit of this goes out to the community and everyone that attended the hackathon and put in the PRs and actually did this work. Talking to people the last couple of days, a few people were asking, what is the hackathon and can I attend? Do you think I'd be able to attend next year? And the answer is absolutely. This is a picture from sort of day one. It's Phil presenting right at the start of the hackathon, and you can see everyone's kind of sitting around the tables. It's a little bit quiet. People are still kind of finding their feet. But very quickly it progresses into something that looks a little bit more like this. And people are sort of helping each other and working on the code together in a really proactive way. It's a really fantastic environment to be in. What eventually happens as well is that people with these common interests sort of start to really find each other and start to work together on the topics that are important to them. And this is just a picture of Harshal standing out the front as they're sort of discussing some of the refactoring they want to do in the NF core sort of template and the adoption of NF test. As well as that, there's a lot of fun. So this is just a picture, the only picture I took actually at the cooking event we had the other night, which was everyone at the hackathon. We went in and we cooked a nice big meal together. It's something that's really common for the NF core hackathons, is that cooking is normally the event of choice. And this is the only picture I took just to send to my partner, just to try and make her jealous. So I'm sorry I didn't take any more pictures, I was having too much fun. The real theme for this hackathon, we don't normally have a theme, was NF test and how we can adopt this into NF core and start applying it to the pipelines and the modules and really start, make our best practices even better. And again, I'm sorry, I've completely stolen this from Edmund's slide as well, so you've seen this one before. I do want to highlight as well is that this isn't done in isolation. There's a lot of people that sort of lead groups and help organize this over the weeks and months sort of preceding the hackathon. I do really want to acknowledge all the group leaders that took the time to help their groups and sort of structure everyone to keep everyone moving in the right direction. Especially the people online, so Yuki, Louisa and Abhinav, kind of the unsung heroes who were there online in Gathertown, answering questions and making sure people didn't feel too isolated if they couldn't come in person. So I do really want to sort of give them a shout out because that's a massive job to take on. Moving on to some of the highlights of the things that were achieved. Again, I've taken this from the wrap-ups of the NF core sort of every day. There's a daily wrap-up. And I've tried to summarize it the best I could, but as you can imagine, there's such a lot of work that's done in really short succession. So I'm sorry I haven't included names, and if I've left something out, I do apologize for that as well. So the modules and Subworkflows group, they produced a huge number of new modules, and I've just listed some of those here. At the same time, there's this massive drive to adopt NF test and sort of add this into the modules and Subworkflows as they were getting developed, but also into some that are sort of high usage. Matthias helped me out by sort of making this graph, which is kind of showing the open PRs and the closed PRs and the merged PRs across the 3 days of the hackathon. You can see there in the different colors, we have those that were with and without NF test files. Moving on to infrastructure. So the infrastructure team really works on that NF core code base, and again, there's a huge amount of work that went on over these 3 days, and I've just taken a summary of that. But you can see here that there's a lot of work on the tooling to make it better, provide more information to the user, as well as things like plugins, so NF validation, there's a new release, as well as like the things that we don't normally think about, like having runners for testing GPUs or modules with GPUs, things like that. The behind-the-scenes work that does definitely need a lot of acknowledgement as well. We were really lucky this year as well that we had Ben and Geordie. They came along and sort of helped with this new group, which is the Nextflow group. So the Nextflow group really worked on part of the Nextflow code base, so looking at things like directives and operators. As well as that, the group included things like documentation and trading, so looking at new material that we can produce to help new people coming along with the community and make sure that they're given the information they need to start working with Nextflow nice and quickly. As well as that, there's a lot of work on plugins. So plugins was a real sort of push again this year. So things like NF CO2 footprint, NF-Prov, NF-Quilt. All of these were worked on and sort of made massive progress forward. There's a few points there, things like Nextflow Tower with NF-Quilt. You can sort of view some data that was produced by that link there. Pipelines was a massive effort this year. Instead of listing all the different pipelines, because there's a huge number of pipelines that were worked on, I've just kind of summarized some of the key ideas that were worked on sort of iteratively across the 3 days. But one of the biggest things was this, getting everyone together to talk about the refactoring of pipelines to accommodate NF-Test. Without things like the hackathon, we can't get together to talk about this. Slack is wonderful, but just being able to get people into a room, get around a screen together, talk about how this is going to impact everyone and what we need to do to achieve the next step in the evolution of NF Core in a way. You really can't beat that. Other things like subway maps, of course, applying templates to pipelines, all worked on as well. I took this from the slide as well. Python is very vocal about his, he's not much of a Python developer, and he is very happy to sort of remove some of the Python code and allow it to be taken up by some of those plugins. Right at the end of the hackathon, there was a release of the a pipeline, so the fetchings pipeline, which had full integration of NF-Test. So this is really a proof of concept in a way, showing how this can be used and how it improves the pipeline. I think this will be the first of many that will start doing this in very quick succession. You might have noticed this year as well, that there's a lot more stickers. So if you've been coming to the summits and the hackathons for a while, you notice that we've started to sort of produce these hexagon stickers. If you've, like me, and you started collecting these, there was a new hackathon sticker for the Barcelona hackathon. But we've all started to make these very special, very exclusive stickers for winners of our sort of social competitions. So as normal, we normally have at least sort of 3 main social activities. The first being bingo, where we have a card, and if things happen at the hackathon, which they normally do, so someone uses Sarek as an example, or GitHub goes down, you can sort of cross off those squares. The other is NF Core Sock Hunt, so we hide socks all around Gathertown. It's actually quite daunting being in charge of that, because you have people following you around. And within seconds of you hiding this sock, even if it's on a different side of the map, someone has found it. I was really blown away by how quickly people really sort of chased me to find those socks. As well as that, something we started at the last hackathon was the NF Core Scavenger Hunt, where we encourage people to take photos with some challenges, just what they're doing with other people, kind of a fun way to just kind of document what we're doing day to day. Finally, the NF Core Quiz, a game run by Matthias. It's a lot of fun. I think there's definitely a few questions in there that were pressure points to him as he was developing the new NF Core website, which was quite cool as well. Of course, with these sort of competitions, there have to be winners. All of these winners will receive stickers. If I haven't given them to you already, please come and find me after this. I have a whole bag of stickers that I'm willing and happy to give away, as well as that we have NF Core ducks, which I've left down in my bag as well. If you haven't seen those before, they are kind of exclusive collector edition sort of rubber ducks with some NF Core branding, which are quite cool. This is really what it's all about, though, is getting people together into the same space to work on the NF Core code base. This doesn't have to be, of course, you don't have to come and work on NF Core if you're sort of working on your own project, but sort of want to learn more about NF Core at the same time. This is probably the best place you can come to sort of get together and work on your pipelines. But finally, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to everyone that was at the hackathon. Thank you to all the organisers, the group leaders, the people that actually did the work, which clearly wasn't me. So yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. It was super fun. I started this job on Monday with the hackathon, and it was like the best way to start a job ever. Chris, I only have one question for you. When's your birthday?
That's a terrible question.
It is Chris's birthday today.
Thank you.
So